What's up, YouTube? It is Jeff Toffner here on the Glorious Podcast, coming to you with my Week 2 NFL predictions. Now, by the time you guys watch this video, assuming it's probably going to be either past the Thursday night game or maybe during the Thursday night game if the Thursday night game's shit and it's a boring game, which it very well could be. But I'm going to make a prediction for that game anyway because it has not started yet. As of the recording of this video, it has not started yet. It's about to be 8 o'clock. It's closing, and it's going to start within the next half an hour, I think. But the Texans and the Bengals, both teams started the year 0-1. The Bengals, as a matter of fact, didn't even score a point last week against the Ravens. So they look like shit. Andy Dalton had 4 turnovers or whatever. I don't know. Their team, they were just awful. Let's just say that. And the Texans, surprisingly, were bad. I thought the Texans were going to blow the doors off the Jaguars, but the Jaguars blew the doors off them. I don't think anybody saw that coming. They had 10 sacks or something. Calais Campbell alone had 4 sacks on the Texans. Their offensive line must have been a mess. And it didn't take long for them to get rid of Tom Savage. I mean, it's almost like they knew Deshaun Watson was going to eventually take over, but they were just going to start Tom Savage anyway, and they were just going to wait for it to just go downhill. And Tom Savage lasted about a half of a game, and then it's a Deshaun Watson show. And I think he's going to be really good, and I think we're going to see that in this game tonight. I think he's going to show up big time. Texans are winning this game. That's my prediction for this game. And yes, the Bengals will score a point. I think they will score. I don't think they're going to get shut out again. That would be amazing, though. Can you imagine if the Bengals got shut out again tonight? I don't know if that's ever happened before. Team gets shut out twice. It's rare to see shutouts in the NFL, but if they get shut out again tonight, that would be crazy. But I definitely see the Texans rebounding in a big way from their loss last week to the Jaguars. All right, so now we move on to the Sunday games. First Sunday game we got is the Browns and the Ravens. Now, I had the Browns. I went bold, and I had the Browns, predicted them to beat the Steelers last week. Obviously, as we could tell, that didn't happen. But if you watched a little bit of that game and you saw maybe some of the highlights, the Browns played pretty decent. I will not lie. They are not the same Browns of last year and the years before. I think they found themselves a quarterback in Deshaun Kaiser. And then you're seeing some of these, the draft picks they got paying off. They're playing good. So it's small pieces are starting to come together for them. They played really well, in my opinion, against the Pittsburgh Steelers last night. To where if I was a Browns fan, I'd be pissed if they lost last week. But I'd honestly take it as almost a positive because they played very well last week. And it's only a few more years now. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I think the Browns could be a team to be a threat in the league. But the Ravens, on the other hand, we were just talking about the Bengals. The Ravens shut out the Bengals 20-0. Their defense was great, just outstanding defense from them. They have a bunch of guys. They've always had a pretty decent defense through the years. I feel like offense has been kind of their problem. I mean, they have Joe Flacco, and they brought in Jeremy Maclin in the offseason. They've had Mike Wallace, so they're an interesting team, the Ravens. They could be a threat, a serious threat, deep playoff run maybe threat, but I don't know. We'll see. But I'm liking what I've seen out of them last week. I want to take the Browns so bad in this game, though. I want to do it. I feel like it's just going to happen. I feel like we're just going to see it again tonight. The Browns are going to play another good game, but unfortunately, they're not going to win. And I got to give this one to the Ravens in the first game on the Sunday slate. The Bears and the Buccaneers. Now, this is the first game for the Buccaneers. They obviously got their game postponed. They were playing the Dolphins last week. That game got postponed due to Hurricane Irma. So they will play their first game this week at home in Tampa against the Chicago Bears, who, just like the Browns, were quite surprising last week. The Bears almost beat the NFC champion Atlanta Falcons last week at home. So they came close. Matt McGowan couldn't do it, though. I honestly feel like if Trubinsky started that game, they might have won that game. That's just my opinion. I feel like you're seeing something similar with the Bears that you're seeing with the Texans. I feel like it's only a matter of time before Trubinsky takes over from McGowan. I feel like this week, you could see it this week. That's what I'm thinking. They're doing the same thing there in Chicago that they did in Houston. And you'll see Trubinsky take over sometime this season. That's what I'm assuming. As for the Buccaneers, they've actually added a few pieces. They got TJ Ward, who was cut from the Broncos. So they didn't play last week, though. So they seem like a team that could be definitely a threat in the league. I really don't know what to expect out of them because we haven't seen anything out of them yet this year. But I'm going to take them in this game, home opener, their first game of the year. I'll take the Buccaneers over the Bears. Should be somewhat decent game. I mean, if the Bears play up to what they did last week against the Falcons. All right, the next game we got is the Vikings and the Steelers. This one should actually be pretty good. Both teams won last week. Vikings played on Monday night against the Saints. They demolished the Saints. The Saints looked awful. Sam Bradford looked amazing in that game. I mean, everybody made, big deal out of when Sam Bradford went to the Vikings last year. Thought it was going to be a complete train wreck. And it kind of, it wasn't. The Vikings were a weird team. Last year, they started off 5-0, I think it was, and then it just went all downhill for them. Didn't even make the playoffs. They've always had that defense there. They have a really good defense. If they can get, like, Sam Bradford, and they got Dalvin Cook, too. He was amazing last week. So they got that offense clicking, too. They could be a force in the NFC. And then you got the Steelers in the AFC, who have always been a force and appear to still be. They beat the Browns. I don't know. I mean, they didn't dominate the Browns. They didn't blow the Browns out. That came down to the wire, that game. But they looked decent, I'll say that. I mean, Antonio Brown was doing his usual stuff. What else? TJ Watt, he's actually going to be pretty good, I think, on the Steelers' defense. He had, 2 sacks or something, or interception. I think he's actually going to turn out to be really good for the Steelers, which they really needed that. Their defense was kind of always, I don't know what to say about their defense. It's kind of gotten old over the years. Guys retiring and stuff. I mean, they got James Harrison. I cannot believe he's still playing. But other than really Ryan Shazier, I mean, now you bring in TJ Watt in the draft. He could be, helpful to their defense. So this game will be actually this is one of the toughest games I think this week to predict. I'm going to take the Vikings. It is in Pittsburgh, but I am going to take the Vikings in this game. Pittsburgh could win, but I'm going to go with Minnesota. I think Minnesota is going to keep it rolling. We got the Patriots at the Saints. Patriots upset by the Chiefs week 1, which was amazing to watch. I hate the Patriots, but I think they're going to rebound in this one, though. The Saints are just, based on what I saw and from the highlights I saw in that game Monday night, they looked awful. Their defense is one of the worst defenses. It's like the lowest one in the league right now, I think, going into this week. And I think the Patriots are going to rebound big time and blow the doors off the New Orleans Saints. The Eagles, the Chiefs. This should also be an interesting game. Both teams won their week 1 matchups. The Chiefs, like I just said, upset the Patriots. As for the Eagles, they had a good down-to-the-wire game against the Redskins. This game should be interesting. It's Andy Reid going up against his old team, so that adds something to it. It's in Kansas City. This is going to be a tough one. I think I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I kind of want to go with the Eagles. I mean, you never know with the Eagles. I feel like the Chiefs, I don't know. I mean, Kareem Hunt was amazing for them in that game against the Patriots. If he shows up big time again in this game, that would be huge. Alex Smith. Where's this been all these years? He showed up huge for them in that game. 4 touchdown passes last week. So, I mean, if they get that, and the Eagles, I think they just lost one of their cornerbacks or something to injury. So, I mean, the Eagles are a little banged up, and their defense, you know what I mean? I mean, I think they're more of a reliable on their offense. Carson Wentz, Alshon Jeffrey, and all them. So, I think it really comes down to that. But the Chiefs, they had a huge loss. They lost Eric Berry for the season, so that hurts them. But I will take the Chiefs in this game. Titans at Jaguars. Jaguars pulling off the upset of the week. One of the few upsets last week. Taking out the Houston Texans. Huge defensive showing by the Jaguars. All these years they talk about the Jaguars. Every year on paper you look at the Jaguars. They are stacked. But, this year I felt like it was just the same scenario again. You're looking at the Jaguars roster on paper, and it's just like this team should be one of the best teams in the league. And then next thing you know, there they are just, losing, not even winning 8 games or whatever. But last week, they played very well, especially their defense. I mean, hell, Blake Bortles wasn't even bad, and that's a rarity. But they're taking on the Tennessee Titans this week. The Titans came off a loss against the Raiders. Titans weren't bad in their game. I feel like they have the best chance of winning that division this year. The Colts ain't going to do anything. The Jaguars might be the Jaguars, unless the Texans rebound. Maybe Deshaun Watson could save the Texans and get them right back in it and make that one of the more interesting divisions in football. But Jaguars at home for this game against Tennessee. this is kind of tough because, I mean, are the Jaguars going to go back to being the Jaguars, or is this a new era of the Jaguars and they're going to be the team they were last week again? I don't know. I'm going to take the Titans in this one. It could be close, though. I mean, if the Jaguars win, I guess this is a new Jaguars team, you know? Not the same one we've seen for the last 10 years. So I'll take the Titans, though. I mean, maybe the Jaguars will. We'll see. This game looks real promising. The Cardinals and the Colts. Colts got destroyed last week by the Los Angeles Rams. And I mean destroyed. I mean, the Rams put up like 40-something points on them. Colts are without Andrew Luck. The Colts are just in a bad spot right now when you look at the roster. They have Andrew Luck, who just can't stay healthy. But other than that, I mean, T.Y. Hilton at wide receiver. They still got Frank Gore running back. I can't believe Frank Gore's still playing. I didn't believe it when I saw he was still playing this year. I thought it was just, he was, I don't know. When I was doing fantasy, I couldn't believe to see him on there. But he is still not only on the team, he is the starting running back for the Colts, which I just find amazing. But other than that, the Colts, I mean, their defense has just been awful. I mean, every year the defense has been the problem for them. And now their offense is kind of fizzling a little bit, and they don't have Andrew Luck right now. And the Cardinals, on the other hand, played a weird game. It was weird. It was the Lions, they went down to the wire, and then the last, 5 minutes, the Lions just exploded on them. And just, there was pick six, touchdowns left and right, and then ended up destroying them, putting up, 20-something points in, the last 5 minutes of that game. But I'll take the Cardinals. There's a legitimate chance, guys. I don't know. I mean, we'll see if Andrew Luck comes back and if changes things, but I don't know. I'm worried the Colts might not even do anything this year. I really feel like there's a chance they might not even win 5 games, 4 games. I think that's how bad they could be this year. I feel like they're in a spot where they're not going to be a team of anything important for a while. I feel like they got to kind of rebuild and start from the bottom. Well, I mean, they really don't have anything as it is, so I feel like they just got to start building through the draft or whatever, because they're a long way from winning anything. The Bills and the Panthers. The Bills are in first place in the AFC East. That would last. That's probably going to last just 1 week. I'm pretty sure that's going to change. But yeah, they beat the Jets. Probably the worst team in the league. But the Bills won, and the Panthers also won last week. They beat the 49ers. Panthers didn't look great in that game, but the 49ers, I mean, I don't know. The 49ers they're kind of in a rebuilding process too. I mean, I'm not expecting much out of them this year either. But this game, I'm taking the Panthers. Panthers at home, got to take them. There's no way I'm taking the Bills. The Bills win this game. I mean, that would be just crazy. I'm definitely going to take the Panthers in this one. All right, now we got the Jets and the Raiders. I don't even think this is going to take any discussion here. Raiders, Jets ain't winning. We got the Dolphins. My Dolphins taking on the Chargers. Dolphins' first game of the year. I'm hyped for this game, guys. Didn't get to watch. It was so hard watching last week and not seeing the Dolphins play. It's just so weird. Week 1, and your team's not even playing. It was just hard to watch. But now they get to play. They're playing the Chargers, and then their schedule's all screwed up. They got to play 16 straight games. They got to go over to London week 4. They don't have an official home game until week 5 against Tennessee in October. So, I mean, I feel like every year the Dolphins are just getting screwed out of everything. The odds are stacked against them this year. I mean, they lost Ryan Tannehill for the year, ACL again. And a couple other guys they lost to. Jay Cutler's the quarterback now. And you know what? I think I don't know. I mean, I could be being biased because I am a Dolphins fan, so that could come into play here. But I think the Dolphins are going to beat the Chargers. The Chargers played decent in the game against the Broncos. I'll give them that. I mean, they could have easily tied it up, but they missed that field goal there at the end. But I don't know. The Chargers they've always been a weird team, the Chargers. A weird team. Phillip Rivers, I don't know, consistency seems the problem with the Chargers. And injuries, like I said that before. They've always been, bothered by the injury bug. That's been pretty much messing up their seasons for the last, forever now. But we'll see what happens. But I think I got the Dolphins winning this game. 49ers Seahawks. That Seahawks Packers game last week was one of the boringest games to watch. I'm just so sick of watching them two teams. But the Seahawks are winning this game. I don't think the 49ers are going to win many games this year. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to expect out of the 49ers. I thought they would play better than they did last week. I was really actually expecting kind of a down to the wire. Maybe they would even win against the Panthers that game last week, but that didn't happen. So maybe they'll rebound in a way. I mean, like I said, it's second week of the season. So, I mean, you got to at least get 5 weeks into the season maybe 4 weeks until you can kind of get an idea of what the team is. I don't think you could really put place a picture on them after just 1 week into the season. So, but I will take the Seahawks in this game. It is in Seattle too, so that does play a factor in it. But Seahawks in that game. We got Redskins, Rams. The Rams were surprisingly good last week. I expected the Rams to win that game against the Colts, but I didn't expect the Rams to blow the doors off the Colts and put up 40 points. That was insane. The Redskins lost to the Eagles. I don't know. I feel like this is kind of a tough game too, because it's like the Rams and they're similar to the Jaguars. You don't know what to expect out of them. Are they gonna come in and do what they did last week, or are they gonna go back to being the Rams of the past years? So I don't know. I'm gonna take the Redskins in this one, but I feel like though I wouldn't be shocked if the Rams pulled that one off. All right, now we got the Cowboys and the Broncos, 4:00 game on Sunday. This game should be pretty good. The Cowboys beat the Giants in one of the most boringest games of the week last week on that Sunday night game. That game was just so boring. I hate defensive games. It's just got to be offense. Unless it's like my team playing, I just can't get interested in another game where it's just all defense and there's no points getting scored. But, I mean, you kind of had to expect that because that was the case with just the both games again, the Cowboy-Giant games last year. But the Broncos, they won their game against the Chargers. Barely. They escaped that one. This is in Denver. This game's also tough. It should be a good one. I'm surprised they didn't put this on Sunday Night Football. I got Packers and Falcons. We'll talk about that in just a second. Let me make my prediction for this game. I'm gonna go with the Cowboys. I don't know. I don't really know what to pick here. This is a tough one. The Broncos, they have a good defense. That's what's gonna come down to. The Broncos' defense is what will win them games. Their offense isn't really anything great. Trevor Siemian, not the best. He's gotten a little better, but he's still, he's not, top 10 quarterback in the league or whatever. But, like I said, they win their games off defense. They got that really good defense. But in the Cowboys, on the other hand, they're the other way around. They win their games through offense. Dak Prescott, Zeke Elliott, Dez Bryant, that's how they're going to win their games. So it really comes down to the Cowboys' offense going up against that Broncos' defense. So that will basically be the decisive factor in the game. I'll take the Cowboys, though. Let's move on to the Sunday night game, the Packers-Falcons, first game in Atlanta's new stadium. Falcons. I'm taking the Falcons. Packers the Packers, their defense is bad. Aaron Rodgers is good. There's no question about that. I'll give them that. Their offense can maybe get up something. I feel like it'll be a close game kind of early, and then I feel like I can see the Falcons kind of pulling away down toward the end of the game. But I'll definitely take the Falcons in this game. And then we got the Monday night game. This game doesn't seem promising at all either, really. The Lions and the Giants. The Giants are a boring team to watch because they are a defensive team. I already noted that in this video earlier. They're just a boring team to watch because they're just all defense. Their offense is awful. And Odell, I don't know if Odell's going to be playing this week. He didn't play last week, and that clearly showed. Eli Manning looked like trash. So they looked awful last week. Their defense was okay. I'll give them that. As for the Lions, though, they've destroyed the Cardinals, especially down the stretch. Matthew Stafford looked amazing, and they looked pretty good in that game. Their defense was a little off, I guess, but it could rebound. It's only 1 week into the season. This game is in New York. Take the Lions in this one. Giants start off 0-2. I don't know. There's another one of those close games. It's kind of hard to predict. I could just as much see the Giants pull it off, but I'm leaning a little more toward the side for the Lions here. So, yeah, that's it, though. That is all the games this week. I think it is all 32 teams are playing this week. For Dolphins, Buccaneers didn't play last week, so I'm pretty sure all 32 teams are on the slate. There's no week 2 buys. No games getting canceled yet, at least. You never know what will happen, but hopefully it's a good week. Let me know what you guys think is going to happen this week. Anything big, leave that in the comments below. Go follow me all over social media. Links will be listed in the description. As always, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you later this week with some more news videos right here on the Glorious Podcast. All right, now we got the Cowboys and the Broncos, 4:00 game on Sunday. This game should be pretty good. The Cowboys beat the Giants in one of the most boringest games of the week last week on that Sunday night game. That game was just so boring. I hate defensive games. It's just got to be offense. Unless it's like my team playing, I just can't get interested in another game where it's just all defense and there's no points getting scored. But, you kind of had to expect that because that was the case with just the both games again. The